Hello, my name is Dr. Ross Bardleben. This is my introduction to how to introduce using the bow and holding the violin. So if I take the right hand and I place it on the bow like this is what your fingers should look like. It should be, your thumb should be relaxed and your fingers should be natural, as your hand would be if you were just naturally holding your hand, so that you can create action analogous to what it would be like to bend your knees and jump. So that's the way you come in contact with the bow, with the thumb, and it should touch the frog, the leather, and feel the stick. And then you use the first finger should come in contact between the first crease and the second crease. I like to feel the first crease. It shouldn't be too deep in the second crease. It could be right in the middle. I like to feel the first crease. If you hold the bow vertical, it's easier than if you hold the bow like this, because now you have the burden of having a strong pinky to hold the weight of the bow. I like to say that robots are stiff, but humans are elegant. And so this would be a stiff arm, and an elegant arm will have a little more shape. I'm not sure I've got the best camera angle for you to see that, but let's set the bow to the side for the moment and talk about the simple way to introduce the violin without a shoulder rest or anything. At first, maybe the second step would be to add a shoulder rest or a shoulder pad as we learn more about the violin. But first, just like a violin can sit, if you can go over here, this platform over here, it's resting on our shoulder. We have a collarbone right here, and the violin can rest there. And the nice thing without using a shoulder rest is that you can go up and down. You can keep your shoulder free. And there's a couple ways I introduce the first strokes. One of them is using Dr. Suzuki's Twinkle Variations. And I use Kirsten Wartburg's video called, or I shouldn't say video, I should say audio, from Step by Step. Book 1A, and let's go to that, and I will play that for you. She has a wonderful drum track to first introduce the first twinkle rhythm. It sounds like this. You see how I'm just getting this idea that the violin is free. Talk. So Kirsten Wartburg, who studied with Dr. Suzuki, uses the syllables talk, and she recommends in her appendix to her step-by-step book 1A that you use tiny bow from the quarter mark to halfway between the quarter mark and the half point mark of the bow. If you think about the bow, the middle of the bow, I don't have a long enough angle to show you the whole bow, but if this is the quarter mark and this is the middle of the bow, she goes talk, then talk, more bow for the talk. So it'll be like this. You could put tape on there, but I think you can just eyeball it and think about itty bitty longer. And the next track, let's play along with it. You can practice with me. Ready, play. Once again, it's interesting the Suzuki method starts on the E string because in some ways it is simpler to balance the bow without tension in the vertical position, and it's a short distance from vertical to the E string. Still, some students do struggle with real stiff fingers. You want to approach it, and you could even do that same thing so you can see what's happening. I'll play with just this. And then if I put 2 fingers down, it looks like this. If I put the 3rd finger down, it looks like that. And if I put the pinky on top of the stick, it's like this. The next lesson that Kirsten Wartburg introduces is the idea of rock my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. Rock my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. That's an interesting skill, just to know that you're balancing the bow. And you want to have a similar sense of relaxation as you would if you were using a fork or chopsticks for a meal. And then you can see what I'm aiming for is the middle, between the middle of the where the bridge and the fingerboard is. And Dorothy DeLay talked about the 5 sounding points. This would be at the bridge. You can see that. That's sounding point 1. This would be near the bridge, sounding point 2. This would be right in the middle of the bridge and the fingerboard, sounding point 3. I don't show that too well. There you go. Near the fingerboard would be sounding point 4, and at the fingerboard would be sounding point 5. And sounding point 5 is soft, and 1 is loud. So those are your dynamics that can be created by the sounding point 1 through 5. And I might also point out that you want to learn how to bow parallel to the bridge, so you have a straight bow. And this is a little way you can practice it. You can, again, balance the bow, and you've got your bow on the bridge. And I like to think about being on the D and A string at the same times and make white noise. I learned this from Burton Kaplan. And that's what it feels like to draw a straight bow on the bridge. Every arm will feel different because every arm is a different length. And young people need to realize that their arm changes length. That's a straight bow. So that's something that can be done to calibrate your arm. Then if you move to sounding point 3, you can understand the straight bow a little bit. The second track on Kirsten Wartburg's step-by-step recordings does the E string and the A string. I'll play it for you and you can practice with me. E string, ready, play. I misspoke. It's just on the A string. Itty bitty, longer, longer. Tucka, tucka, tuck, tuck. Tucka, tucka, tuck, tuck. It's the next track that I can play next, which does the E and the A. So it teaches the essential skill of being able to play on two strings, 2 different strings, one after the other. E string, ready, go. A string. E string. A string. E string. A string. And the last thing I'll mention is, so I'm getting used to this idea of what it's like to hold the violin. If I were to open up the hand and go all the way deep, it would be like that. What we do is we create a cradle for the violin. It's more difficult to hold it. It takes more effort if you are closer to the scroll. But if I come this way and go up, I'm getting a sense of learning balance. And what I like about this is that if you teach this way, without a shoulders, obviously that's why, because of what you see the shoulder doing, why it's hard on the body, and the hand becomes free, which is nice for the fingers. But then you have collateral damage with a backache and often friction that happens here because you're holding tightly and then you're squeezing here. So at any rate, I like to teach first this sense of balance. And next we can introduce the shoulder rest. I do play with the shoulder rest. It looks like this. I use the Kuhn. I went through a long journey where I tried lots of different things. Learning to play without a shoulder rest has been helpful. Now everything I gained with the balance of the violin, I bring back to the shoulder rest. And I can hold it this way more easily without the left hand, but I can also be free. So one of the exercises I do sometimes is hold it with just the chin, hold it with just the left hand. Now both, and you can explore that balance. And at any rate, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I'll leave you with that. So that's an introduction. Maybe I'll play one more time so you can practice with me. This is Kirsten Wartburg's pre-twinkle exercises to learn to play taka, taka, tak, tak on the E string, and then taka, taka, tak, tak on the A string, to work on that relaxed approach to holding the instrument and to work on your posture. And I can do it with or without the shoulder rest. I'll do it with the shoulder rest this time. But once again, there's definitely something to be gained from exploring this. And the great players from the past played without a shoulder rest. So it's something that I'm not dogmatic about, because you can play great either way. Some people from the past argue that you cannot play great with the shoulder rest, so that's food for thought. Nathan Cole has said some very interesting things about how he switched from playing with the shoulder rest to playing completely without, and wished that he had known that you really do hold the violin completely with the left hand, as Heifetz did, and as all of the players in the past that played without Zaghetti and Milstein, etc. But I'll go ahead and play with the shoulder rest so you can see both ways. E string, ready, play. A string. E string. A string. E string. A string. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like it and subscribe and leave any comments if you'd like. I'm new to this, so this is I'm a Gen X person, so not as much of an exhibitionist as the current culture, but trying my hand at putting these videos up here. So let me know if you like them. Hope they're helpful.